Welcome back to the Eclectic Collection podcast. I've missed you. Life sort of got in the way, and we'll be talking about that in future episodes. And I hope that you have been sustained by all that I have up on my content lists. But I intend to go forward with some awesome things that I will keep you on top of. And at the moment, it's just a matter of getting back on the horse, if you will, which is funny because I've never done that since I was 3. Today's episode is episode 110, Keepsakes. Very near and dear to my heart. Being a teacher, it is one of those things that I just totally take for granted. I am used to the academic life, the academic schedule. I don't think I could do anything else as far as my brain is wired to have, the summer as my cool down time to do extra things. And, fall to me means bonfires and homecoming, and spring to me means prom and graduation and class rings, and winter, I think of all the cool holiday stuff that happens and talent shows and things like that, decorations, and there's just so much that's connected to school. And I feel like the average adult doesn't really have that anymore. When they leave school, when they're done school, all of a sudden a lot of that goes away. Like, when's the last time, if you're a normal person out there, because I'm not, if you're a normal person out there with a spouse, when is the last time you went to a dance? You didn't, right? You haven't. Or you're chaperoning one maybe, but you don't necessarily dance with your spouse, maybe at a wedding, but unless you're invited to a wedding, like, do you really, maybe you go dancing, maybe that's your thing, but that's not your thing. Just a simple little moment of that, or going to something that is, I'll say scholastic is where it started, but you didn't keep up with it. It could be something as dumb as when you were a kid, you went bowling and ice skating and roller skating, and you just kind of stopped doing that. You didn't go. Or maybe you used to go to athletic games and watch your friends, but then, you got older and you just stopped doing that. So whatever it is that kind of put it in your head is the cool thing to do, go Rydell High. As you get older, life gets in the way, responsibilities start to happen, and you stop doing those things. And sometimes we look at these little keepsakes, and they remind us very much of what, maybe you lost, or you want to get back, or you missed. I live them. I wear my class ring every day. I'm constantly surrounded by yearbooks. I've been the yearbook editor-in-chief when I was the kid, as the advisor, as the teacher. I live for that stuff. And I can't imagine life without it. So I get sad when I hear a kid say they never joined a club, or adults say, well, I never was much for that, or, oh, high school was so long ago, or I didn't do that, or I wish I did that, or, oh, I was in the play and I was tree number 6, but I never did try out for that lead role, or I was pretty good at football, but I never tried out for quarterback, or, I wanted to write for the paper, but, I thought people would look at me funny. And I think, wow, what did that do to you in your future world, in your career and such? So to me, time capsules and the last copy of your newspaper when you're about to leave senior year, and prom night and the gift you got for prom or post prom if you had an after party prom, and your class ring and your yearbook, and all these things that go with school. Sometimes teachers have kids write letters to themselves that they open at a future date, etc. It's just part of what I do every day. So every year I think, oh, got to do that, in September, because in June I want them to see how far they progressed. And that could be, their accents and how they're picking up speaking in Spanish, or that could be how they grew as a person. Because I always think there's like 3 facets to that in school. Yeah, sure, the stuff you're supposed to teach content-wise. But these days, it's communication, because we lost a lot of that after the vid. So looking people in the eye, shaking hands with them, not burying your face in the phone and becoming an ostrich, and actually talking situations out and talking to people and having a discussion. And the third part of it, I guess I'll call it the charity part of it, but it's really just being a good human. You can't grow a conscience, so just having people want to naturally, get into the canned food drive, or help, donate some hours to tutor a kid that doesn't get it. Or, we have Special Olympics and they can help, timing and coaching, or just kids coming in to decorate for the dance, or, whatever it may be. And there are those people out there. I just feel like there's fewer of them now. And that's sad, because that's the kind of stuff that really makes that safe, awesome world go around when you think about schools. I loved working with Jostens and Taylor Publishing, and back when I started out with Cook Publishing, I loved all the people I worked with. I constantly, had yearbooks, bought yearbooks, made yearbooks, and that was everything to me. And just to have people go back and say, that was really cool, appreciated that. Being there, constantly had a camera in my hand, and that was just, what I did, and I enjoyed it. As for class rings, I wear mine every day. It's just one of those things. I have my college ring and I have my class ring. I would never be gone without them. Unless it's a Friday and I'm being a bum because it's, dress down Friday. But for the most part, it's just something you do. It's like, oh yeah, I was class of such and such, that kind of deal. What did you have on it? What did you get engraved? That kind of deal. Prom gifts. I still have the silly little keychain they gave us in the candle. Just different time capsules we were a part of. I have all the last editions of high school and college that I was a part of and wrote and also kept together. And I can remember when I was coming out of high school, my sister was well into the workforce and older than me, and talking about me graduating to her friends at work. They were like, oh, that's so fun. And there was this massive nostalgia wave that went about them, and they kept asking to see, oh, can I see pictures? Can I see the yearbook? Would you show me? So she brought in copies of my last paper and things that I had written. So many people were crying, men and women alike, just because it touched something in their mind, or they liked what I wrote, or they had some connection that made them miss those days, if you will. And I feel like there's a fine line between vicariously living through your kids, and personally, I don't have human pets because I'm a teacher. I know better. But, I get to care about kids because I choose to. And it's a really unique privilege for me because I get to see some great ones and some not so great ones. But the facts are, I don't have to care, and I choose to. And therefore, I can kind of, to me, that's where I feel like I'm making a difference, because I hope your mom and dad want you and have to love you. That's kind of part of the deal. So I take a vested interest in that kind of stuff because I want them to be fostered in all the cool foundations of things that are school that you think about. You should always go to school not worrying about any kind of safety issue. You should always go to school looking forward to having fun, learning something. Okay, maybe the math test is annoying and maybe you can't stand that you have 16 assignments by the end of the week. But the social part, the seeing your friends, the being part of that community, that club, those other people, these other adults that you know and trust that care about you. Hey, how was your game? So-and-so. What was the play like? Like, what happened? How did you do in your swim meet? All these kind of things are tantamount to not just your little nucleus of mom, dad, and your family care about you, but this whole other class and this whole other building and this whole other ecosystem. And, when you get older and you go to work, not that they're not a family, because I'm certainly very much a part of my family at work. Of course, I stayed in the academic realm. But there's less of that connection, especially if you're in an office or in a cube. Not all jobs are like that. Or maybe you work alone, or maybe you work and you only touch base at the office once in a while, or you work from home. And I get the benefits to all. But don't forget those things that were those keepsakes that were important, at one time. Or maybe they weren't, or you thought they weren't, and you didn't, get the ring or whatever. It's not to say that it was a money thing, or you bought it, or you didn't buy it, or you thought it was a waste of time. It's the fact that you were connected. And if you weren't connected, that doesn't mean you can't connect. Don't vicariously live through children and, make their world yours. Let them do what they want and help them appreciate and learn what they like. But do, especially if you think it's too late or something that you didn't do go back, pick up the old baseball glove, open the old yearbook, dust off friends' phone numbers and see, because I know I came out of high school before email existed, and track somebody down, call up an old friend, have lunch with somebody you haven't talked to in forever. It's not going to hurt you, and I guarantee some good will come out of it. If nothing else, you have a funny, nostalgic conversation. But I know I'm starting to sound like the poster child for Bruce Springsteen's glory days, but it's very much the case. I mean, what do you talk about? Things in common. So maybe your lives have been completely different, and somebody ended up a finance banker and somebody is a professional surfer, which, by the way, are two of my friends in high school. But we still all get together, and it's like we never left. And in my head, I guess that kept me from growing up, and I'm eternally 18, which I love. So, dig up those things. I know some people say they have the box of keepsakes. Please don't confuse what I'm talking about with the box. The box is like old breakups and things from significant others. That's a very different set of memories, and I hope that even if they cross-contaminated and it was an old high school boo, that's a different box. That's like not something you want to put with your yearbooks and stuff just to keep everything safe. However, there's that. So I hope you have them. If you don't have them, go find some or share an old memory and just bring back the warm fuzzies, because it's that time of year for me. And as I prep for yet another graduation, and I think, what are these kids going to grow up and do? I stay in touch with a lot of them, and I've been very happy to hear a good amount of success stories and happy, positive people, and God knows the world needs it. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I hope you could take a second and just think about some warm fuzzy that you had. One thing that I will say is that, like I said, I've always been very lucky to work with good companies, and if you are looking for yearbook stuff, Jostens is the way to go. There are some other great ones out there. Taylor Publishing's great. Cook, if you're local to Pennsylvania, they're just fantastic. And I've used Devore for photo, and I love them. A lot of those people I've worked with have retired, but they're fantastic. If you're doing real film, Kodak film is the way to go. And Ilford, 400 if you're doing black and white photos, or if you just want to reenact something or have for your kids or for pictures and things. And I'm always a big Canon fan, so I know there's just Nikon people out there, but they can't help it. But at any rate, there's affordable all the way up to mortgage your house cameras out there. So I realize most of you are listening, but I'm going to drop a couple of links if you like to take a look at stuff that we use and that we support and we like. And, give them a shot out, or if it's new to you, or if you're going to try something. And then maybe it'll be something you like as much as we do. If you liked what you heard today, check out eclecticcollectionpodcast.com or listen to us on your preferred platform. I'm Terry Tenaglia. Thanks for listening.